what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell.
Right now, it's time to start paying attention if you haven't up to this point. The right wing in this country, the conservatives in this country, the Trump cult in this country, and the people who are administrating the terror that we're all facing are trying to label the Democratic Party an extremist domestic terror organization so that they can stop fundraising, stop people from being members of the Democratic Party, so they can be a one-party country, much like Russia or China, or name another dictatorial authoritarian state. That is what Donald Trump wants. And they're doing it in public and acting like it's no big deal. And the way that they're going to do this is through labeling any violence that comes, any chaos that comes in a country where mass shootings are an everyday occurrence. They're going to act like the uptick in political violence forces them to do the thing that they're going to do, and that they're going to do premeditatedly. Yesterday, there was a shooting at an ICE facility, and before anyone knew any of the motives at all, they did the same thing they did with the killing of Charlie Kirk and acted like this is a radical, left-wing, radical, insane terrorist doing this. They don't know anything. In fact, the evidence that they put forward early, before anything is known, before there's any suspect named, they're saying, we found cartridge casings, unspent cartridge casings with the words, with an anti-ICE message on it. And you would think that anti-ICE message would be something like, F ICE, defund the police. No, it was anti-ICE, which really, to me, smacks of that story from a few years back where the old white man from Mississippi claimed that black vandals burned his Mississippi Confederate flag and scrawled graffiti on his driveway. And the graffiti was blacks rule. Wholly unbelievable. Because in the mind of this elderly white man, this racist from Tennessee, he's like, how do them blacks talk? Oh, I know, blacks rule, underline. Blacks rule. It's the same energy with this. And I'm laughing about it because, that's how I cope, I guess. But it is not funny. We are facing annihilation here. We are facing authoritarianism with the fascist boot upon our neck. And JD Vance, tip of the spear here, was on giving a speech yesterday, doing the same exact thing, justifying in a premeditated manner the thing that they're going to do. Saying that you can't call your opponents Nazis. You can't call them Hitler. You can't call them fascist. You can't call them authoritarian. I'm going to read to you exactly in his own words what he said about Donald Trump. I will show you images that Fox News even put up on screen of the things that he's called Donald Trump. But before I do that, let's visit what JD Vance said yesterday about what you cannot do when you talk about the leaders in the United States.
If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
Is that right, JD Vance? If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everyone who disagrees with you is a Nazi? That's interesting. But I'm not surprised by Trump's rise, said JD Vance in a Facebook message. And I think the entire party has only itself to blame, meaning the Republicans. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education white people. And I've been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something. And hell, he says, as an aside, as an afterthought, hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class black people in the process. I mean, if it's going to help us, why not help black people too? Says JD Vance when he was in his reasonable phase. Or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and might prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler, said JD Vance. How's that for discouraging? Again, he's also called Donald Trump noxious, reprehensible, cultural heroin. JD Vance has called Donald Trump. So save me the crocodile tears. Spare me the fake incredulousness, JD Vance, that you can't, if you want to stop political violence, you can't call your political opponents Nazis, says the guy who called the guy he works for a fucking Nazi. It rings hollow, JD Vance, because you are an opportunist. You're a lying, soulless, dignity-free actor, a boil on the body politic of the United States. You clown. He went on naming Gavin Newsom, calling him out, tying him to political violence, when we know that political violence in this country comes almost exclusively at the hands of conservatives and their psycho cult members. Watch JD Vance calling out the governor of California.
Because here's what happens. Because here's what happens when Democrats like Gavin Newsom did say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell, and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
That's a lie, but even if it were true, encouragement is not what you think it is. It's not encouraging people. And even if it were, which it is not, it's a lot better than actual incitement of violence, the actual dispatching of an armed, angry, white supremacist mob to attempt to overthrow the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair election. The insurrection, I may remind you, JD Vance, came at the behest of America's Hitler, your boss, Donald Trump. Because he's an insecure weakling, sore loser, who couldn't handle not being reelected to office. He brings it full circle here, talking about what we know. Speaking of Black's rule, here's what we know about the shooting. By the way, this had just happened. We didn't know anything. They're doing the exact same thing they did with Charlie Kirk, appending his assassination on they. They did it. They want to stop his message. They. Even though it was a lone gunman whose motives we don't even know yet. Watch this, and then we'll wrap.
This country in the last couple of weeks, and that was true maybe until this morning, because I don't know if you all have followed the news, and we're still learning a little bit about it. But what we know is that in Dallas, Texas, an ICE facility, an Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility, was opened fire upon by a violent left-wing extremist, a person who wrote anti-ICE messaging on their bullets. And there's some evidence that we have that's not yet public, but we know this person was politically motivated. They were politically motivated to go after law enforcement. They were politically motivated to go after people who are enforcing our border. And I think that is the most disgusting thing.
Here's the thing that's completely unbelievable that you have to believe the FBI run by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino to believe. And also, there's some stuff that we haven't even made public yet. The party The administration that wants you to believe there were these mysterious burn bags in these mysterious unknown rooms that they found is also the party that wants you to believe that these bullets were written on by the perpetrator, the suspect, who we can't ask any questions of because they killed themselves. Very believable. Very honest, JD Vance. You ring very credible, JD Vance. You soulless ghoul. Serving a man you yourself called America's Hitler. What would that make you, JD? What would that make you? What do you think? After you subscribe to this channel, if I bring you value and you follow the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily, you can sound off about this. You can comment below the video wherever you're watching it. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Welcome to the almost weekend. It can't come soon enough. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.